Welcome back to the Profit Boss podcast. I am so excited about today's episode. I have Ali and Ailey from CorePlus Kawana. I would love to introduce these girls. I'm a big fan. So Ali was born and raised in country Victoria town called Mildura. She comes from a family of go-getting business owners and entrepreneurs, which drove her passion for being a business owner from a young age herself. Ali is deeply passionate about health, sport and community. She has run personal training and marketing businesses. After relocating with her partner from her small hometown to the sunny state of Queensland, it was Ali's drive and passion that pushed her out of her comfort zone to discover what was next, and that was Ailey with CorePlus. Ailey is from a big family and also found herself in a small town in Victoria called Mildura from the age of 7. Ailey started Pilates for the first time when she was 16. She's run multiple businesses in the past with her family, and she's been with her husband Wazi for 20 years. Together they have 2 beautiful daughters and have a shared belief in giving everything a go. After living overseas with Wazi and her girls to establish their global company together, Ez came back to Australia in 2020 and started her qualifications in clinical Pilates, which led to many chats with Ali about opening something of their own on the Sunshine Coast, and it was CorePlus. That really caught Ali's attention when she attended a hot mat Pilates class in Melbourne, and it sparked the journey together in November 2022. A franchise of stunning studios providing Pilates, yoga and reformer classes with the added bonus of having the hot mat room. It is the CorePlus message to be movement that moves you. Personally, I am obsessed with this gorgeous facility that Ali and Ez have brought to us right here on the Sunshine Coast. CorePlus Kawana is located in Batinia near 99 Bikes, and if there is one thing you can take away from today's episode, it's to get your butt to the studio to try a class. I am currently doing the 5x5 challenge and I am loving it. 5 classes a week for 5 weeks and at an unreal price. So keep an eye out again when they run that campaign. All right, girls, let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Profit Boss girls. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
I will just jump straight into the questions. So I've got the first one here. When you start a business with a friend, there is an existing relationship in the venture that can often be overlooked and sometimes not prioritised by not putting the very best safeguards in place from the start. What have you girls done to protect both the business venture of CorePlus, but also your friendship?
I think when we knew coming into this that we had a really nice relationship in terms of we are at different ages in our lives and different stages, and it probably gave us a nice little bit of separation to think we can make this work as a friendship and a business. And I think it was only maybe in 2 or 3 months into the initial conversations that like, whoa, you really have to be on your A game because there are hard conversations, and then it's like, okay, let's go get lunch or dinner. It's like you have to chop
really
in and out of it.
Separate the time and say this is work, this is friendship, and be really clear on those boundaries for one another.
Yeah.
But no, we had some long talks on how we wanted things structured. We had lawyers come in, we done a shareholder agreement, got everything kind of down on paper, and that it was hard to start, wasn't it?
Sometimes it was awkward and like that friction, but it was like, I think looking back now, it's like if you can't get through that process, then don't go into business. So spend that $3,000.
Yeah.
And if you can't get through that, then you've saved yourself a whole lot more money down the track.
Absolutely.
And I think it really solidified for both of us that you can't just do this with someone off the love of a friendship. As much as you love all of your friends, it doesn't mean they're a great fit to be a business partner. But we really like navigated it quite well. And I think even yesterday in our Monday meeting, which we'll get to, you know, we voiced how we were feeling and maybe some concerns that we had about our dynamic and how could we improve on that in the next few weeks. And so being able to have those conversations.
Nothing feels awkward anymore, really.
Yeah.
Like we can talk money, relationship, anything. Yeah. It's okay because you've safeguarded and gone through that, you know, uncomfortable period.
Yeah.
And now, I don't know, it's pretty easy to come through. Whether something might feel uncomfortable for a second and then it's like, oh, we don't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
And the shareholder agreement, you know, like it's not that you don't trust each other. It's not about that. Life needs some formalities, and when it comes to business, separate the friendship, put the formalities in on paper. And in the back of our brains, we both know that no matter what happens, we've actually already agreed. So we have like our own rule book. Essentially, it is a rule book.
Absolutely.
And you might have, it hasn't happened, but you might have quite a moment of tension and then come away and you can both reflect and go, this is me acting on my emotions right now, but in a clear head, we actually agreed to handle these things like X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So
it's also
then you're like,
safeguarding future decisions too.
For the business.
Yeah.
For like having
everything.
it sustainable, profitable in the long term. Like
everything.
We're not just talking about a month or 2 months' time. You're talking years' time.
Yeah. So we wanted to make those decisions early.
Yeah.
And have the vision clear that we're, again, still working on the same goal, even what life may throw. And those situations are all outlined in the shareholder agreement as well.
Can you touch on maybe some of those examples of what's in there in the shareholders agreement?
Pregnancy.
Yeah.
If one of us was to move away, if one of us wanted to be bought out, if life had changed. Yeah, all of those.
There's some really heavy topics in there, and I think people don't even realise what is in a shareholders agreement. A lot of people don't even know what a shareholder is. No, you know, so you got to go right back to the basics. But like, it even goes to the state of, okay, if something was to happen to me and I become unable to perform my duties for whatever reason, how long does Ailey have to sit and wait for me to get better until she can go, look, I'm going to scoop in here, we're going to buy you out, whatever. Like if I'm not physically able to make decisions, we've actually put a time frame around how long that can just stay in limbo for. Yeah. Or if I just went overseas and didn't come back, there's a time period of like, okay, well, you've been absent for this long. So then this clause will come in and I can action X, Y, and Z.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if you are listening and are going to go into business or plan to go into business with a friend or even not a friend, like another business person, I cannot stress enough the importance of having these decisions articulated, communicated, and put in writing. I think
an interesting one that I probably didn't realise until we started is there's topics that, yes, are really common and they go, yep, tick this off. But you can actually put in there whatever you want. It could be like, on a Wednesday, Ailey has to bring me a coffee. Like if you both signed on that sticks. Like there's actually no formal right or wrong way to write one.
It's your agreement to one another. It's almost like a marriage. It's just a different thing. You're just trying to work things out.
Like we could both agree that at 10-year mark we get some car or something. Like and if we're in this position, like you can literally.
I love it.
You can make it what you want.
We need a revision.
Here.
But there are topics that advisors, and that's why you have to go to the advisors because they make you think of things that you never thought of before.
If I was to pass away, does Ellie just instantly become business partners with my husband?
Totally. No one thinks about that
you know.
because that was never the intention initially when you set up the business.
No.
Like you never want to think about these things, like, but you still got to plan for the worst and hope for the best.
Exactly. So, no, it was good. Haven't read it in ages, but it's there when we need it, you know.
Couldn't tell you where it is, to be honest. Somewhere on our G drive.
But even employment agreements and things, you know, we put out expectations for how many hours on average we would do of admin and this and that.
Absolutely.
And, you know, okay, let's review this after being open for 4 months and see if we've landed where we thought we would land.
Yeah.
And then let's redo those employment agreements, re-sign them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just your own rule book. That's all it is. And if you can't get through it, then just bail early.
Yeah. Heard it here first, guys. I second that. My next question is about opening the franchise CorePlus. Can you talk to me about how you knew CorePlus was right for you girls? Being experienced business owners, you both know what it takes to build a successful and profitable business. So what was it that CorePlus, how did that stand out to you and why was that the one?
The values. Like there is such a backstory on how it was found, but I think when we were talking, what we wanted and could see for ourselves and what we wanted to create, what they have in place was something that we just wanted to be part of and wanted to share.
Yeah.
For me, I think I really sat back and reflected the time in my life that I'm in. You know, I'm not 21 or 22 now. I have a partner. where I'm 31 now, we're entering the next chapter. What does it look like to start from scratch and be creative only on our own?
Yeah.
And what does it look like to be a part of a brand that we love anyway?
Yeah.
And it kind of was to the point where we didn't feel like we were in a position in our current lives without giving up some other things that we really love, like renovating, to really nurture something from day one without any framework. And so when I first went to CorePlus, I rang Airlie and I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And from there, learning about the inclusivity, the no phones in the rooms, the support from HQ, you know, we would never have gone and opened something on this scale.
No way.
If we just were coming from our own ideas. It would have taken many more years to kind of build to that
and
point.
more insecurity would have come from that.
Yeah.
We have such a rally of support behind us
Yeah.
that you feel really confident in what you're doing and what you're sharing with people.
Yeah.
I think.
And when you talk about scale, can we touch on that? Because I didn't include it in the intro. When we talk about opening a facility like what you girls have done, it's often just like one class at one time. So can you talk about scale and how your business differs to like your average facility?
So I think, you know, if we were to open something initially just on our own, it would have been both of us taking most of the log of the work.
Absolutely.
And grinding from the start, putting our own processes and expectations, which we
Even,
have
like,
obviously
booking
tailored.
system.
Yeah, for
Everything.
sure.
One room, not multiple.
Definitely wouldn't have been two rooms, you know,
No.
and we were taking on board, I think we started with about 13 or 14 instructors.
Wow.
And we're now growing to nearly going to be a team of 21, just coming into that 6-month mark. And that would have seemed like a really daunting experience, but because we've got those frameworks to lean on and we can just, you know, contact HQ and be like, hey team, what are we thinking about this? Should we add these class times?
Yeah.
And we have that experienced answer from them. So I think the scale is definitely a lot more vast in the team, but also in the schedule.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have had 2 classes running at one time.
Got 76 on the schedule for now, planning to add
Next
5
week it'll be more.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
So I think the scale is like, if we were doing it on our own, we're like 5 or 6 years ahead
I
of coming
absolutely
into
agree.
the 6-month mark.
Yeah.
But it's also allowed us to A, make some great friendships and connections and be a part of something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
B, give more instructors an opportunity to work with us. And also C, hold on to some of those aspects of our life that we love. Like Ellie's got,
Yeah.
you know, girls who are really demanding of a bit more time and travel and life experience. And I've, you know, want to start a family, renovate and things. And a lot of that probably would have had to go on hold.
Yeah. And probably for years, realistically.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, without the scale that you have. Because running 2 classes, how many people can go in the hot mat room?
31.
31 plus, is it 14
Yeah.
performers? So
Yeah.
you've got, 45? I use calculators all day.
Yeah, so fun. 45 capacity, yeah.
Yeah.
And just also your energy for that many people.
Yeah.
And we do our best to remember people's names and slowly get there. And everyone's so understanding when I
you're
know your
fantastic at it.
face.
All your instructors know my name. And I wouldn't say that I'm there every single day. So every time someone's like, hey, Tegan, I'm like, oh, hey.
Our team, they're
Fantastic.
brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that in itself is a whole nother component that I probably underestimated how much give there is as an instructor, but also just being in reception and meeting and greeting and, you know, engaging with people's lives and what they've got going on outside of the studio
Yeah.
is definitely a dynamic of the job.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, I am exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're exhausted more than we're not at this point.
It's good though. Like we reflected.
It's like you're so happy. You're just a
Yeah.
little
But you sent
tired.
me an audio. Was it yesterday you sent me an audio? Like, oh, I nearly had 6 months.
I did
I'm
actually.
so proud of us.
And it was like I had 1.5 days off instructing. So like I got on top of everything at home and I was like, oh, life's so good. I've got everything clean. All the washing's done. I've taught for 24 hours, you know.
Yeah.
It's funny. So
Space.
yesterday we felt very exciting to be like, oh, we're almost at 6 months and we're having these little pockets of like,
Yeah.
I don't know, normal life, I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah. Like this is the new normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much joy in it.
I'm very grateful for our routine. Like, I don't take that for granted, the fact that we work long hours but different hours to anyone else. But, like, to be able to, you know,
Staggered
sit at
hours.
10 a.m. and have a reflection on our morning and have a coffee and a meeting, but then know that we can both go home if we need, catch up in the middle of the day. And then, you know, it is a 7-day adventure for us. We're open 7 days. So I think we only close 2 days of the year total.
Wow. Is that like Easter and Christmas?
Christmas and New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
wow.
it.
So...
I'll look forward to Easter. I'll be there.
But yeah, you know, that in itself is like, okay, it is okay if it's Thursday at 12 noon and I'm getting into bed for a 2 or 3 hour sleep. Like, because we could then have to cover at 4:30 the next morning, and then we're both working Saturday and Sunday this week. Yeah. So, like, there is no full day off, I think, for either of us, really.
I think we've really found our rhythm in that now. At the start, it feels like you've got no routine. Yeah. But, like, yes, it helps that the challenge is on, but we've both been working out,
rallying.
which is like, that just makes you feel amazing.
It does.
I'm going to do 6 sessions this week.
Yeah, I'm aiming for 6 as well.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
And, like, we had weeks where we were doing 1 or 2 self-practice and the rest was instructing. But I think now this has reminded us to prioritise that back for ourselves. Yeah. So I'm hoping to, you know, carry on for myself after this, like 4. Yeah, and
like
then 1 session somewhere else, like someone else's. I like going to other businesses and supporting them, but also just, you know, removing myself and just turning off. So
having time for you.
For me, at least 1 of those a week and 1 run.
Yeah, yeah. I love what you just said, and I think of this often myself, and I think of it as like work-life integration, and I think that as opposed to work-life balance, because often we can strive for balance, but it's going to look so different, and then it doesn't feel like balance because you're like, I actually have no time to do these tiny little things that Instagram tells me I should have time to do.
It actually feels more pressure to find a balance, but I love that word integration because it is exactly what you want.
Yeah, because when you care and you're passionate and invested in what you do, you probably don't mind replying to an instructor at 8 p.m. at night.
No, not at all.
And then it's also, though, having self-confidence and self-worth that if you need time off in the middle of the day, like you said, to have a nap.
Oh my God,
that's
I'm
okay.
good at napping. I've got that shit down pat.
I'm not great at napping.
I can't, I'm probably more like early.
I could go
on the
down for a
weekend,
2
but,
hour.
School pickup's like right in the middle of the day for me. So nap doesn't work.
But yeah, there is a juggle, you know, especially if the work phone's going off at like 5 a.m. or I do feel a sense of I want to get back to this person because they could be trying to get into the 6:15 class and their app's not working or whatever. So it's like, oh, yeah, it's all good and well to think you'll reply at 8 a.m., which is normal admin hours, but that could have compromised their whole morning, you know. So you are sleeping with phones on loud, one for the instructors and then the work phone. But you learn to adjust. You learn to adjust to that. But definitely recognizing that we're a 7-day business. It's really hard to take a full day where you're actually not
thinking about it.
It's a work in progress.
So time to jump into business operations and day-to-day now that CorePlus has been open for nearly 6 months. Tell me about the process of dividing your roles in the business and sort of benefits and challenges that come with that.
I love that you say 6 months. For us, we're at our 2-year anniversary of when we had our first phone call with CorePlus that day that I went to the class, rang early, and I was like, 3 o'clock today, we've got a franchise meeting. And so that is 2 years ago for us. But yes, CorePlus Kawana is coming up to the 6-month mark. And
I've been saying 4 months for a long time now, even just last week. And then I was like, oh, it's been 6 months.
Yeah. I would say that it was really hectic in the first 3 months. And then in this second 3 months of being open, we have found some structure to our weeks. We know our roles quite well. We still have an overlap because we appreciate each other's opinion. I think the other day I said, Ellie, I really want your opinion on this. And I just needed her to be listening and talking, but I actually came up to the answer on my own. And she was like, see, you didn't need my help, did you? But it's not that you need them to necessarily
I had a headache.
talk.
I was in a bad mood. I was like, why is she asking me this? She's going to do what she wants. But
But you need that bounce.
Yeah, you bounce off one another.
Yeah.
So
to get to
it
where
was
you
just
need
a
to
bad
land.
day.
And I was like, she does not giving me anything here because this is my domain. But I just wanted her to say, great
I was
idea.
just sitting enjoying the sunshine.
This is one of the most amazing benefits, and I know we spoke about being in business with friends. That's one of the benefits of doing it together, is that bounce.
Yeah.
Just
and we
to
do
interject,
compliment
like-
one
It's
another
just
in
like
that,
even
which
the
is
look
good.
in her eyebrows. I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. I'm like, no, that should
Yeah.
sit forever and never come back out.
Yeah.
Like the Halloween video that we tried to do the other day. She gave me nothing.
I walked away because I was like, I'm not into it. I'm not doing it. Not being part of it. And she walks up. She's like, well, that didn't go to plan, did it? I was like, nope, didn't. So, but you just sometimes we let each other feel it. If we don't. Like if I don't want to be part of something, she's right. She'll take the lead and go.
Yeah.
Vice versa.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when we work on it together, it does usually work out pretty well.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
But I suppose in terms of what a week or structure looks like for us, our Monday meeting is non-negotiable in the sense that sometimes it can't happen on a Monday because like
Tuesday
we've got something else, but the meeting always happens every week. So we sit down together. Ellie takes like a lead instructor role and manages all things, covers instructors, feedback, what we're doing at the moment, which is our reviews.
Yep.
And that involves nurturing them. How can we make that class even better? You know, how are you feeling in your work-life balance?
What has our community asked for?
Yeah.
Yeah. I relay that.
Yeah.
to them.
And then I keep my eyes on more so like that studio manager role. So client communications, memberships, invoicing, FBOS receipts, maintenance, supplies, just all of those things. But we definitely have an overlap. We come together. We clean a lot together. We always consult each other on things that are coming into the studio.
Yep.
I'm not just going to go out and buy something. It's like we always will consult each other. Like, what do you think about this plant? Or
Yeah.
what do you think about that?
Everything
Should we
is
change
still
our
shared.
Yeah.
isn't
Should we
it?
change our supplier for the toilet paper? We're
My
navigating that.
inbox is mainly just Ellie folding everything
Things.
through so that I can be across it.
And
Yeah.
hiring, we are both across hiring.
Yeah.
So initially they would come through me for all of the formalities, super, what's our processes, what's your car rego for the car park, like all of that fun stuff.
Yeah.
We both go to classes, we interview, we have coffees with instructors together. And then from onboarding, they then funnel through to Airly and they're under the Airly nurture wing of, you
love
know,
that.
how
I hope
you
they
know,
feel nurtured.
Yeah, they would.
so we have a system. It's like, okay, until your first shift, you're essentially with me and then CorePlus training.
Yeah.
And then from that day, you cross over into
I'll
like,
induct them in and
Yeah.
induction
bring
and
them
things.
into the studio.
So that's kind of our separate roles in that regard, but there's a lot of overlap. So that Monday meeting is time to be like, instead of, we still talk a lot during the week, but instead of dumping like, hey, these socks are on order, should we order 50? It's like, put that in the meeting.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
so that it's not like constantly little calls. So Monday meeting, we start off with a personal check-in.
We do.
That's beautiful.
We normally hang out on the weekend though, so it's kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you do on the weekend?
oh, we came to your house for a swim.
You talk like Milo.
That's how a dog would talk. He was a good dog. And then we go, I normally kick off next because I'm a real note taker during the week.
L's structure.
Yeah.
A little bit more chaos.
Yeah.
Not chaos. Organised chaos.
So it's a written agenda.
You've got it internally maybe to come up
Yeah,
with.
I rocked up to the meeting yesterday. I was like, all my notes are in my phone. I just haven't copied into our meeting thing yet. She's like, can you copy it over? I still
That's okay. So, yeah, I take the floor generally. It could be anything from someone's reached out to try their protein bars. It could be next week I've got a dentist on this day, so I need to not take that, or we can't do this or whatever. Actually, I'm getting a filling this week, but I moved it to next week because I was just too busy. Couldn't think about having a numb face.
It really puts you out, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I was like, I want to train on Thursday night. So.
That's on video.
I love this. Can I have all this footage?
Yeah, what's going on?
Next birthday.
And then I will generally cross over into our financial wrap-up.
Yep.
So we're both across finances, but it's definitely a role that I've taken more so from a bookkeeping. I'm in the zero. Ez can pop in if she chooses to have a SAS. But I'm like, this is how much money we've got in the bank. And then I like, this is how many new intro offers we've sold in the last 14 days. This is how many new clients we've had through the door. ClassPass, we look at that kind of stuff. So we just give a really brief, quick overview of where we're sitting.
Not that, like, we haven't looked at it every day
During the week,
but you just like to go over it
for
as
sure.
like okay, well, this is the run of it.
Yeah, it's kind of an important part of the job. So we do a little financial wrap-up and then throw to Airly on the floor, which is normally more of an instructor-based wrap-up or ideas.
Yeah.
Or
Content.
concerns that I have
like
noticed.
feedback.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
Not concerns in anything, just more it might be, hey, we're running low on toilet paper, or when's that?
Have we ordered the wow wipes?
When are the lollies coming in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I bulk ordered Chupa Chups the other night.
Good, 'cause
Late
Big
at
W
night.
has been
No,
out.
they're
Oh,
off.
no.
But I love this shop. Cheaper per lollipop.
Oh.
And I think it was free delivery. So,
We've had like 2
Just do
weeks
it.
going to Big W trying to get Chup Chups.
but we got through with the cheap Halloween lollies. People didn't notice.
They were gross.
Yeah, I know, but they were Halloween.
I sort of grabbed them.
Yeah.
So,
People
to
take them for
Christmas
their
now.
kids. They're like, I bribe my kids with lollipops, so I'm taking
Mum
a
goes
few.
to Pilates and
You're like, okay.
Why not? And then important too, we do those meeting minutes. So I put together the meeting minutes every week, and then from the meeting minutes, there is action items that go into your Trello board. And so Airly, I haven't done ours from yesterday, but there might be 5 action items that probably need to be done ideally between now and next Monday, but some of them can be a little bit longer term.
Yeah, it might be something we've spoke about, knowing that needs to happen in a month's time, but we'll still pop it there.
Yeah.
Then we delegate ourselves.
And and that's up to the individual to go, how much of a priority is that?
Yeah.
And then also to speak up and be like, I'm overloaded this week. I know that's a priority, but I'm not getting to it. Like, is that okay? How do you feel about that? And
I think that was an adjustment thing because we both have different work styles and urgency on things.
Yeah.
On different things too. Like
Yeah.
I might have a big urgency on something that Ellie was like, no, we can handle that later. I'm like, but no, I need that done.
Yeah.
And to her, there might be something that she needs me to do really quick where I don't actually see that as a priority. I think that was an adjustment. So now
For
we've just we know now to speak that and be like, I just need this done for my brain.
Yeah.
Can you please help me? And
Yeah.
it's worked out.
Yeah. And I definitely that's how I feel about the emails, like in the mornings. Like that for me is like, the rest of my morning's anxious if I'm not replying to them. So I might as well just get back to them because I love it when someone gets back to me timely because then I can organise the rest of my life.
Yeah. I agree.
So I was on the way here. I was like, I've just got to reply to an email in the car, because I don't want that person to wait.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I know that we'll finish up here at 10:30, then it'll be 11, and then it's 6 hours before you've got
Your
back to them.
days run away on you.
But most people reply and they're like, thanks for being so speedy.
Yeah.
I'm not speedy on replies, unfortunately.
Everyone's different.
Yeah.
It's what works best for you.
I need to mull it over.
Yeah, think about it. And something
Yeah.
like everyone, exactly like I just said, is so different. Like sometimes your best outcome will come with time, and sometimes they have to be like.
I like to just lock in. I have an hour where I'll sit in and I'll like get that all done, and then I need to put the computer away.
Yeah.
And that's what works for me,
Yeah.
and won't work for Elle, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I can tell you both have a really great open communication style where if that started to say bother you and like I actually out of that hour I need you to prioritize this one because it's on my mind.
The other day you were like, I need
you
this
can-
graphic for
Yeah.
Facebook. Like, I need it tonight so I can do my part.
Yeah,
Yeah,
brilliant.
I was
because
going
I don't
to
like fighting with the.
the program. I've got it sorted now.
It takes
like
me so
Canva
long.
or-
No, it's called Easel.
Uh,
It takes me much longer where Elle just kind of can get it done because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it could go over here. It could go.
did you
I
have
just
a
overthink
marketing
it.
background?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done lots of that kind of stuff
Yeah.
before, and I enjoy making that kind of stuff. So it's fine.
It
It's
makes
lovely to
sense.
handball that off. It was so nice.
I'm not doing it. So I would like to wrap up with a numbers question because it is the Profit Boss. So all things CorePlus and how you're managing profits, cash flow. I know we touched on, Ellie, you're the bookkeeping role and the finance role within the business. It's brilliant that you cover this in your weekly meeting. If it wasn't one of your agenda items each week, I'd be like, excuse me, girls, add it, please. So yeah, if you want to talk about that and how's it's gone in the last 6 months.
Yeah, I think that, look, projections can only help you so much. You come into this knowing that the spreadsheet could lie to you. It's like we can project and forecast and go off previous studios, but at the end of the day, we have to do the groundwork to make that come alive.
Yeah, we're creating our own projections at the moment, which is really good.
Yeah.
actually.
So
We
we
can start to see the trend.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just going off what we were given, but what our studio looks like.
Real data.
And we got all that financial advice. Obviously, we went through all those proper channels, and we went over the spreadsheet thousands of times, and we're really lucky that Ellie's husband, Rowan, is really good in that space, so he could help us out a lot, but we revisit that quite regularly. You definitely... There's that leap of faith element that it's like, right, we're all in, and we have to just hope that everything that we are doing is going to make sense in the long run. So cash flow is certainly interesting coming into a new business, especially one that sells foundation memberships, because that's an upfront for 12 months. So you have to be really smart about how you then manage that cash flow over that 12-month period. And definitely obviously understanding that our priorities is paying all of our bills and instructors before we get paid. So understanding that the first year is not just us getting paid off the bat, and that's okay. We have to already forecast our lives and how we'll manage that in the back end.
Not putting all of your cash into a bucket straight away, because you may need that to support yourself in the first year.
And we transparently can have conversations about money and be like, okay, because sometimes cash flow, and you would understand this, but other people potentially not so much, it's about timing, It's not that the money is not coming in ebbs and flows, but maybe you need it this week and it's not coming for another 7 days. So how do you fund that shortfall? So we can have a conversation about, hey, we both need to contribute X, Y, and Z, or hey, are you guys okay to contribute X at this point? And it's being transparent about it might not always be an equal contribution because the business is, as shareholders, you take a percentage of the business each. That might not still reflect what you're putting in the thing. It just, it's all recorded and it's all accounted for. And same as we still invoice for all of our instructing hours and that, but then when time comes, we might choose not to pay ourselves for that period, but we're kind of just banking it for later. Which I'm like, okay, that's savings for the future.
And reinvested in the business.
Exactly.
And if we want to grow to more studios, then that may be funding for later. So we need to think of those things.
And
absolutely.
being part of a franchise does come with some financial commitments, well worth it for what the support and everything. You're getting their support. So the way franchises work, they ask for a royalty, and that percentage can be different depending on what franchise or what stage you enter, and what that's all in your franchise agreement. But you do pay a percentage of that revenue back to them to say, hey, thanks for all your help, And so knowing that, okay, you made more this month actually means you'll also pay more in royalties. So you have to predict how that's going to flow as well. And they're really fantastic in, helping you understand what days of the month that will happen and things like that. So you're planning, okay, I know the 15th of every month and the 1st is a big outlay for us. So you're just working out how those ebbs and flows work and covering classes where we can to save that little bit of extra cash, but then also knowing that our time is spent really well working on the business by flyer drops or reaching out to workplaces and things rather than maybe taking that class. So
being at the Noosa Triathlon, being in the community.
It's a bit of a juggle, but I
don't
think, it's not for the faint-hearted. It's not an easy ride. And I think until you own a business and you're in that, it's very hard to understand because people can see people on the mats and people in the reformers without really thinking about the day-to-day costs to pay the instructors, to pay the rent, to pay the outgoings.
Keep the heating on.
Keep the heating on.
I can appreciate that is not cheap.
So there is a lot of dynamics to growing a business, and year one is definitely a little bit of a roller coaster.
And using that data with your member numbers and sales to then work backwards of what works to boost that. I think, have you learnt things along the way in the last 6 months?
Oh, for sure. I think what they told us early actually is something you talk about at CorePlus is you got to sit in it for a while to start seeing the patterns. And now we can see some patterns. Whether that's class attendance times, whether that's times of year. There's patterns that will emerge, but you can't just freak out in the first, 4 or 5 weeks.
You can't be reactive. You have to sit with things for a little while.
Be proactive more so. You have told me, girls, about how your 2 family units, you obviously both have your partners as well who are invested and involved in some capacity to the business. So you have your weekly meeting and you talk about finances, but do you also check in as a family unit together?
Yeah, we do. We try for once a month to have a financial and a strategy meeting.
Yeah.
We tried to take it away from having dinner together
Yeah.
because it just meant it dragged on. That hasn't worked yet. So a lot of the time we get into the lounge room, the TV gets set up as
We
the
try
spreadsheet.
every time we do this Chromecast or whatever the platform, Apple TV is like
Drives us
failing,
mad.
and then everyone's getting frustrated and dinner's getting cold. And, but we do get there.
Yeah. And that's been helpful, I think,
Yeah.
for all of us to be across everything and what our strategy is
Yeah.
for the next 6, 12, 18,
Yeah.
5 years.
We want to do another studio, so
Yeah.
just like forecasting for that. What does that look like? And also just the boys are in their day-to-day lives outside of CorePlus. Yes, they're chief flyer droppers and attend classes, and, Rowan's really heavily over the financial side of things. But
I
they
think
can
that's the
still,
balance of our group. Like
Yeah.
you've got Ellie and I doing this, but on the build, Braden was so hands-on because that is his strength.
Yeah.
Where finances, that is, an accountant by trade, that is his strength. So
Yeah.
he supports us in that sense.
It's the dream team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
and
a
it's
nice
important
balance.
to just check in with them at that meeting because, they're thinking about a whole nother industry and things that they're doing
Yeah.
on a 9 to 5. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, we've hired, I think I said to Braden the other day, we're going to hire another 3 girls. He's like, oh, really? Like it's just that check in, because we talk all day. We forget sometimes to relay some of those little things across.
Yeah.
But overall, the unit works really well and everyone definitely has different strengths, which is, chef's kiss.
Yeah.
That's perfect. You don't want to be doing the same thing because that's sort of time wasting.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's right. And when we talk about strategy, like that's obviously those levers you can pull in your business to then grow it to where you want to go. So having 2 people who are removed on a day-to-day basis, does it feel like a bit of like a bird's eye view because they come in with like, have you thought about this?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's we use a thing called like scaling up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're using that kind of sense of things. So we're taking that bird's eye view and seeing like where we're starting from the values and how we bring that into our goals, and then we look at our goals and how we bring that back to our values. So it's a really nice kind of bird's eye view. I think that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
And independent, like CorePlus has fabulous values, but we've also put in place our own set of values. And we actually have them in our team room. And we also, part of the onboarding process is the girls, boys, anyone that wants to join the team one day, gets to have those as part of, I suppose, the expectation, is that if you're joining our team, this is how we operate and this is what we do expect. And we do that for the benefit of each of us as teammates, but also benefit of our clients.
Yeah.
And a big one on that is the no triangles. So we are always working on this, and Ez did a fantastic job of it yesterday with me in a meeting. But instead of going to, for us, it would be our partners or something, being like, Ellie's frustrated me because of this. It's like, go to Ellie and be like, I felt this way.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't your intention. What could we do better to make this better over the next few weeks?
Fantastic.
Which was literally us yesterday.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to instill that in our team. It's like, okay, we understand you could come in for a class and that room is messy. Reflect and go, can I
How
just
can
go
I help
straight?
my teammate out?
Help them out. Or if it's being a reoccurring thing, like, hey, I just want to let you know, just remember those blocks or whatever, and you can always lean on us. We're always here, but we are always encouraging each person to go straight to the source.
Yeah.
So we're not creating any kind of Chinese whispers or any kind of,
Fantastic.
negative air,
Yeah,
I suppose we're calling it.
It's fantastic. And say that's the expectation and know, rather than have to be reactive to finding out that's happening, where there might be a bit of like tension between someone, but they're sort of talking amongst themselves.
Yeah. And everyone can feel
gossiping.
when there's some tension.
Yeah.
And you're actually going to make the situation much worse than it just being honest, because then it doesn't blow it out. It's just an easy little, hey, I know you didn't mean it, but you've actually, that kind of upset me, or I felt like I wasn't valued.
Yep.
And also,
it's done. They're going, oh, I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
I'll be more conscious.
Yeah, owning the energy and being like, even if it's a day later, being like, I'm sorry I presented like that yesterday morning. I might have seemed a bit short.
Yeah.
It wasn't you. It was I was thinking about this and this and this. And I do it quite a lot. And Ez says it to me. When I get anxious in my head, I could be talking to someone and I get a bit vacant because all I can think about is I want to be in a room on my laptop getting through my list.
Yeah.
And that can appear quite abrupt sometimes to the other person, and it's actually not a reflection of them. It's just me needing to work on being able to set that there and know that that can happen in half an hour, but I can channel my energy here.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's okay not to own it in the moment, but self-reflect and then come back.
Yeah. And this sort of expectation culture and nurturing and caring of the team, the people who won't fit into that, they won't last. Like I don't want to sound like coming from a negative approach, but they won't last in the team because they won't fit with that.
But
it'll
not
be the
all
right
places
people.
are everyone's places.
Yes, exactly.
And we're creating something that, if it doesn't feel right for you, you don't have to be here.
Yeah.
But we really want you to align with what we're creating and that values of our team.
Because it's super special.
It's an
it
energy.
is.
It's a vibe.
And I think they're the things that people do. They do forget when it comes to a franchise because they go, that's just a franchise. But like there is still Ellie and I really creating this team that are here to nurture our community and connect with everyone.
Yeah.
And grow into the future of the plans that we have for our journey with CorePlus. You know, we want to pull these people with us and give them that priority of growth.
Mentorship.
But it is. It's hard. It's one of those things that, you know, instructing is secondary in many regards. You know, it's like, how do you fit that moral kind of rule book that we've put together? And that's why we display it in our team room, you know, and that's part of the induction.
Yeah. I saw somewhere a quote this week and it really resonated with me, and it was actually people over profits. So we can end the episode there with, I know I'm the profit boss, but people over profits, because with that, the profits will come.
Exactly. In turn, those things will come back and reward you in the future.
Yeah.
The more you put out, the more you receive.
Anyone listening, if you haven't been to CorePlus Kawana, please get your butt there. The girls are amazing. The instructors are amazing. The vibe is amazing.
Yay, Teagues, you're doing so good in your 5x5 challenge. And if anyone wants to join us, we have 11 class styles, something like that, across our hot room, yoga, Pilates. You can join us
There'll
for
be over 80 classes a week as of next week.
And you can use the code CorePlus on us in our app for a first class free. We could probably write that somewhere in the show notes.
Drop it down below.
And feel free to pass that on to anyone else that hasn't visited us before. They can use that and come along with you for a free class, or just reach out and we'll put a free class on your account.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thanks.